Hi, I'm going to read the story called Is This the House of Mistress Mouse? Mistress Mouse is a girl mouse, and Mr. Mouse is a boy mouse. So here we go. Is this the house of Mistress Mouse? This is the house of Mr. Mouse. He lived all alone, and he was very lonely. One day he received a letter from Mistress Mouse. The letter said, "Dear Mr. Mouse, I am very lonely too. Will you please come and visit me? Love and kisses, Mistress Mouse." Mr. Mouse said to himself, "I would like very much to visit Mistress Mouse, but I do not know where she lives. However, I will just have to get into my little car and go look for her." "There is a house just ahead," said Mr. Mouse. "Perhaps this is where Mistress Mouse lives." He knocked on the door. "Is this the house of Mistress Mouse?" he asked. Mr. Mouse was very frightened, for it was the house of Meow. The house of Mr. Cat. What a cute little mouse, thought Mr. Cat as he watched him speed away in his car. I wonder why he is so frightened. But Mr. Mouse knew better than to go into Mr. Cat's house, didn't he? Soon he came to a bright red barn. He knocked on the barn door. It was the house of Cut, 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 chuck, cut, cut, chuck. It was the house of Mrs. Hen and her baby chicks. "Please don't bother me. I am teaching my chicks to scratch." And so Mr. Mouse traveled on until he came to a big castle house. He knocked on the castle door. It was the castle of Roar. The castle house of Mr. Lion. He was in a very bad temper because he had a very bad toothache. Mr. Mouse raced away as fast as he could go. Finally, he came to a cute little house on a lovely country lane. He knocked on the pretty little yellow door. Knock, knock, knock. "Is this the house of Mistress Mouse?" he asked. The door slowly opened. Sure enough, it was the house of Mistress Mouse. Mistress Mouse was so happy to see him, and Mr. Mouse was so happy to see her. "Will you marry me so that we will never again be lonely?" asked Mr. Mouse. "Why, yes," said Mistress Mouse. And so they were married by Preacher Mole. Mr. Mouse gave Mistress Mouse a golden wedding ring with a bright diamond on top. And from that day on, they were never lonely. They went on picnics, they took rides in the country, they went rowing on the lake, and then one night, after they had finished their supper, they heard something. It was a tiny squeak, squeak, squeak coming from the bedroom. What do you suppose it was that was squeaking? It was their baby. He wanted to be kissed good night. Good night, Daddy Mouse. Good night, Mommy Mouse. Good night, Baby Mouse. Good night. Isn't that a lovely story? Good night.